Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Tuesday, the 10th of October. These are the charts for the day. Well, a weird day on Wall Street as it gapped up and then spiked to new all-time highs, came plunging down in a three-wave decline, and then reversed an inverse head and shoulder type pattern on NASDAQ 100 and kind of a right-handed extended V on the S&P. But the best part about the day was the very finish as it spiked up to close at the rally high, coming back and solid sessions on the day with pretty good technicals. Advanced declines in New York with 2-1, up down volume 3-2, and it wasn't too bad at all. So let's take a look at some of the stocks that did well. I'm going to also show you a few of the shorts that box of shorts that are also performing. Abeona, well, it's been really good for us. We've been swinging this one since it broke out here around the 10 and change, and it still looks good as of right now. When we first gave it to you August 29th at about 10 and a quarter, that was right here when it broke out. Our targets have been raised several times, and right now they're 17 and a half, 18, and 21 and a half, and pretty much we're going to have to raise that because right now I'm looking at something around 23 and possibly 28. If you look at the accelerated angle, usually when a stock goes in a certain angle, it'll then accelerate into a blow-off. It appears that that is now your rising bottoms line, and this is your rising tops line on a parallel basis. So when we look at it this way, very well might see a move towards 28, even 30, if the stock starts to really accelerate and gets above 22.3 in the next day or two. There's over 5.1 days to cover on this one, and this one looks pretty powerful. Today's volume is 2.4 million, excuse me. It was the biggest volume in a month, and on a breakout day, pretty important. Stay tuned. This is going to be a real good one. ABUS popped out, falling wedge, exploded, and now another normal wedge on low volume. Technicals look great. I think the stock could get up through the 8 range, run to 9, 10, even 12 or 13. My target right now looks like it could be about the, let's call it 12 range. That's a big move from 730, so let's keep an eye on this one because it could get going. Biotechs are really looking good in here. ACRX in the medical field broke out of its base here. Key breakout comes across the triple top around 415, and then it exploded up near 575 before backing in a wedge. But take a look at the pop today. 6.8 million shares, the biggest volume since the breakout day here, which could lead to a much bigger move. When we step back and look at a longer term chart, it looks to me like there's a gap in here, and we may test as early as tomorrow. That comes in around 615. If we get through that, we may run into the gap and make a move somewhere, I would have to say around 8. This stock could be really interesting. There's 4.9 days to cover as well. And so let's look to see if this accelerates out of here and we get some energy here instead of backing off. It looks to be with this volume here that it's going to plow through it. Minimum target would be 6.25, 7, 8, that type of thing. ARDM. Well, after the base and the breakout explosive move, it wedged, but today it popped, jumping $1.15 or 18%. This stock could run quickly towards 6 and even 7 on a near-term basis. CBAY. The swing trade's working. I originally gave you CBAY June the 1st at 5. Targets are 8 3/4 and 10. Well, we reached 8 3/4 yesterday and today, and the current target is 10. We'll probably have to raise that to 10 and maybe 12, possibly 14. You can see the angle of ascent here shows a big 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave's underway, which could take you eventually up in that area. Celsius, well, exploded big time and then pulled back for 3 days. The falling wedge that ensued right there subsequently broke back out, and you can see today jumping 88 cents or 23.7%, and with 4.9 days to cover, this could very well make another run at 6 and maybe get to 7.5 3/4. Those are going to be my targets going forward. Swing trade diodes, which I gave you recently, and let's see, that was 3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, there it is. So diodes, I was given to you August the 31st at 28.14. My targets were originally 31 and 34.5, 5. Looks to me like 31 was met. 34.5, 5 is next. I'd like to look at this one. 3 days to cover, and you can see the rising channel shows at the channel top 34.5 range. HMNY. Well, what can I say about this one? It's a rocket ship, and originally given to me by my buddy Harris, who passed away this week, and you can see that. When I got it, it was about 4. It ran to 28.70 today, and I don't think it's done. This could be a $40 stock, maybe near term. Yes, it's been up for 4 days in a row, and for 8 of the last 9. And the top of the channel is right there, so we may get some pullback. Watch today's low at 22.75. That's going to be a stopping point potentially. But if it backs and fills for a day or two, that's fine, like it did here or there or even there. Nevertheless, I think we're headed towards 40. We may be headed towards 45 or even 50 if this just accelerates and blows off. ICHR. Well, Ichor Holdings, a semiconductor stock, today took out the spike high from June post-IPO. It looks like it may be headed to 34.5. That's my target. There is a rising channel here that reached the channel top and lateral resistance today, but it closed near the upper end of the range and up 314 or 11.7% is a strong move. But I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be a blow-off stage. You got to be careful that it doesn't die right in here. If it does extend, watch for blow-off into that area and exit because it may be short-term overbought. Not a big enough short position at 1.65 to give me the energy I'm going to be looking for. Adera broke through a triple top today here and spiked up 28 cents or 11.6%. It's a cheapie, and there is resistance at about the 290 area, which I think we may get to tomorrow, but my following target is going to be about 330. 11 days to cover on that one. Well, Mankind popped out after 2 consecutive inside days, which we featured last night, with the day yesterday being very low volume and a nice, strong money stream and balance of power. This stock looks like a rock star. And I mean, a move that I think could get it all the way up near, eventually up around the 10-11 zone is where my target is. Maybe something at 10.5, 11. And I'll look for that going forward. I will say it's extended, it's overbought, it could pull back and consolidate at any point. It may need to, but I think this stock has more to go in the 6.4 days to cover. Finally, a breakout in NUTANIX with monster volume, 15.6 million. That's what we're looking for. This time, a decent close, as opposed to here where it backed off. So let's see if we can get extension to 28.9, my next target zone, followed by the top of the channel near 32.3. Almost 5 days to cover on NUTANIX. Swing trade PSTG given to you recently. September 21st at 15.44, and then popped to 16 and backed off to consolidate. Today reversed, it looked like. After holding support at the prior high, I'm now looking for a retest of 16.35 and then a move up towards 18. 7.6 days to cover on that one. QURE extending up another 39 cents or almost 4%. It's a low, very thinly traded stock, but it looks to me like if it gets to 11.5, you're looking at a $14, $15 stock potentially, especially with 12 days to cover short. There's a 1, 2, and there's 3 underway that could take you up to 13, 14. SRNT popped out of a base today. Exploded with 8.4 million, filled the gap and backed off. Now, we're going to watch today's high at 285 because if we get through that, we're looking at 350 and 450 potentially. 5.4 days to cover. This could be emerging. Zogenix exploded and coiled. Probably a swing right here. My target, 52. 5.6 days to cover. And finally, Zyne on the long side. After popping a week and a half ago and pulling back, it's got a nice wedge for me. It looks like it's ready to go again. And if it does, watch for resistance at 11.25. We get through that, we're looking at 14, 15. 4 days to cover short. And now a little gander at some of the boxes shorts that appear to be doing well. Ametisys, after rolling over finally, it's getting blasted. It's now down 6 days in a row. It may very well test 45.5 at support from the July spike low. Breaking that, we're looking at 42 and then 38 to maybe 35. EGRX rolling over as well. Looks like it just took out support here. My target is going to be down in the mid-40s. ESRX also breaking this big wedge. Should be headed down towards 55 and eventually 50 or less. Finisar. This bear flag in here appears ominous to me. And today it dropped just a couple percent, but I think it's headed for 19 and 16.5. Fossil broke that rising wedge the other day and continues to drift lower. It feels like this is going to be a $5, $6 stock. Hasbro. Well, it was a good short there. Came down and bounced for about a month. Now you can see the wedges form. If that wedge breaks, keep an eye on this one for a drop. And I'm not kidding when I say this could fall apart. First towards the mid-80s and then the high 70s. MTSI, big bear wedge for me. You can see the red line, the moving average here. It's unable to get through that. If it should collapse or fail here, 36 and 30 are targets. Swing trade PLAY on the short side broke the rising wedge. It's coming down and it dropped another 72 cents today, but it's closing at the lowest level since November last year and may very well probe the 40-42 zone in a not too distant future. True car, another swing after snapping back to resistance, fell today and hard. It looks to me like it's going to retest the lows, coming in right about 1440.50, maybe as low as 14. So that 1440 range appears to be some kind of support zone potentially. I think, however, we're going to see that eventually get down to 12 or 13. And finally, Veritiv, right? A large 2-month-long rising wedge. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not surprised to see that after a huge drop from 45 down to 27. But now, if it fails here, and it looks like it might be because it dropped back today, if this begins to drop down under 30, watch for the stock to test 27 and then all the way down to the low 20s. Folks, that's the long and short of it tonight. You guys have a great evening. Let's make some money tomorrow.